This is Power to Lead with Integrity Foundation. Empower our time. Why do we do this? We do this because it's our mission, our vision, and our aim to reach out to the world, to heal, to educate, to empower, innovate, influence, impact, inspire the world to love, live, and leave a legacy of integrity. So, this legacy coaching that we do 1 hour on Sunday, 1 hour on Wednesday, it is for us to share the beauty and experiences of life, some tools to help somebody to get on. It's a new week, it's Sunday, the week has started. So we want to start on a very good note. And on this, you always know I'm not alone. I'm not alone. I have a guest who is coming up now. Let me bring him to the stage so we can dance together. Wow, today I went all over to New York City and I'm here with Dave Chametzky. Wow, who is Dave Chametzky? He is the podcast host at Peace, Love, and Bring a Bit. But no, let him tell us who he is. And after that, he's going to open the session for us in prayer. Dave, welcome to South Africa.
How are you doing, Ntsiki? I
Um,
so I am so excited to be here. We've known each other for such a long time, and it's always an honor to connect with you live as well as online. It's just so honored to be part of your show today on the Power to Lead show.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dave. Let me give you my authentic greeting and raise a flag for you. This is my South African flag. And welcome to the show. Thank you so much. Wow. And may you just pray for us and we get on dance together.
Sure, of course. A little prayer. Bringing the universe today, especially
Yeah.
for I don't know how many Jewish followers you have, but it's the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, which is the New Year for Jewish people. So we can just pray together as the universe, because
Yes.
God's universe will bring us glory, as well as all the peace and love that we have within ourselves to assist others. And may our word and the word of the Lord continue on out and sharing for each person who hears it, as well as the ability to lift ourselves up and rise as we're on our journey. And through our journey, we'll find the time to soar. And once you're soaring, you'll be able to fly free and not be held back by old beliefs. And in God's name, I say this.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. We stand in agreement in God's name and we receive the blessings and the peace and the beauty of it all. I love this. I was going through the lessons, of understanding the new year, that this is the new year. So in our prayer group, we're going through those lessons. So I was so excited about your post today. Hence, I followed it and I shared on mine as well. This is beautiful because we want that, it's time we tap into the fullness and the abundance of who God created for us on earth and what He created for us. Pure love, joy, peace, and live in abundance. And this is our topic today. I love your post and I love your podcast. It's peace, love, and bring a bet. You're going to break that for us, and so that we understand what does it mean. Maybe before we get into the topic, tell us about your podcast and why peace, love, and bring a bet.
Sure. The podcast is just one of the many things I do. But the podcast, we all talk about needing peace and love in our lives, that calmness, the joys that bring through prayer or any other way that you find it. And to do that, excuse me, And to do that, we need to show up, be present in our own lives, and also be able to give unconditional love. Again, not necessarily always in prayer, but unconditional love really is giving of yourself to others that you're not expecting anything in return. So, I know at times I've sent flowers to people, not for a thank you, not for the ability to say, "Oh, he's wonderful." That's not what I'm doing. I just give it. There was even one time I was in Seattle and I just walked around giving flowers to people just because, not any strangers, wasn't asking for numbers. So I think we need to do that. We need to know our boundaries. That's where the bat really comes in, the balance in our life, to figure out that right balance. Once we have the perfect balance, you're able to, using a baseball metaphor of the bat, is able to hit that sweet spot in our lives. It doesn't always have to be a home run. It always will be the sweet spot. If you hit it right, it feels great. And for those who maybe never have swung a bat, never had that opportunity, or have never found balance, that's where the work really becomes, to have peace and love in your life and not find the right balance that you might have had. And that's where we're at today.
Wow. You sum it up so nicely and bring it to the topic for today. And what is unconditional love? What is it that is in you that makes you to just share flowers with people? And what is the significance of flowers for you? That it's a sign and a symbol of love that you give to people unconditionally.
Well, I like to give unconditionally. I haven't always done that. It's through learning. We say we love so many different things. Uh, Food, right? I love my car. I love this, but unconditional love for other people, to offer that up to anybody, that's pretty powerful. To say, I love you enough to give you this piece of my heart, piece of my thoughts, and I'm not asking for anything in return. That's powerful, because many times we ask to see what we'll get back in return. We might get disappointed. Oh, I bought you X and you only gave me back at Y. That's Then not love. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but unconditional love is me sending out love to you, not asking for anything in return. So some of the people that I've sent flowers to over the years, I haven't asked. A lot of times I won't even sign a card with my name on it, because I'm not looking for the, oh, thank you, please. I'm just sending it because it's my way of saying, I love you. I love you more than you might ever understand. But if you receive it, that's up to you. And love is energy. It's that energy we can send if we're with somebody or not. Love never ends, and that's really powerful. Once you can do that and find peace within yourself, don't be upset if you're giving somebody something, or you're offering something, or even receiving it, and you don't want it. That's okay. That doesn't take away the love. And if you're giving something with an expectation, then it's not real love. You can still use that item to show that your appreciation of somebody, but love to me is just unconditional. I give it to you to do whatever you want to do with it. It's yours to please. If you want to throw it out, go throw it out. It is not about me, because really I've learned over the past couple of years, your ego is not always your friend. Actually, your ego is not your amigo. I say often, and because our egos get caught up, and that's where we trip up. And I personally have tripped up over my ego many times. I've done this. That's why I don't understand why you don't understand. Everybody sees the things that they want to see, how they want to see it. But the real powerful part is, if I give you something of love, I have no expectation. How you choose to see it or receive it, that's on you.
Wow. Dave, I want to ask you something. I want to ask you something about the ego. Is the ego a limiting belief?
Hmm.
Is the ego a
Well,
limiting belief or a limiting factor? What is it?
it could be, right. So if you're feeding your ego, you're looking outside of yourself. Your ego is really inside. If you're content with who you are, uh, me wearing all these teal shirts is one of my colors. Normally, uh, StreamYard, the background doesn't allow the logo of my podcast, where it shows me in a green suit with a baseball bat and like a cartoon figure. And guess what? But that's who I am. If I'm comfortable with who I am, it's not out of ego. I'm not telling you to do what I say and feed that. You could choose, and that's why when I do my mentoring, I use that mentoring different than coaching. Where coaching, you might be more directing people what to do. Where mentoring, I'm like, well, you get to make that option. That's that you get to make those choices. By making those choices, it's not out of ego. So when I mentor with people, I can give you some suggestions of things that I've learned, and it's really on you. It's not, if you succeed, it's not about me. If you are unsuccessful, it's also not about me. This is just knowledge that I've offered up, and that's one way to lead. That's being a servant leader. Is not saying do it my way. It has to be my way. It doesn't have to be my way. Life goes so many different ways if we're open to it. And a lot of times when you ask me about our ego could be a limiting belief, because if we're worried what other people say and you're living in a world of, oh, what are people going to think? What are people going to say? That's a limiting belief. And while we could do that, you don't want to do anything inappropriately, but you also want to make sure that your ego is in check. And that's the really part of, that peace and love, that if you can love yourself. I didn't always love myself. And the first time I was ever asked that was about 3 years ago. And at that time, I didn't love myself. I loved a lot of people. I can tell you in all of my life, who I have loved and who is still in my heart, even though I might not see them. It's That's the difference. Even my dad, who I didn't have a good physical relationship with here on this plane, I've learned how to give forgiveness. There was always love, and I've found more peace in that relationship now that he's transitioned than when he was here. I mean, towards the end of his life, we did make a peace, and the last words I said on this planet to him when he was physically here was, "I love him," and he nodded. So that's why it's an energy. You can still send energy to people who are here physically on this plane, and you don't see them for whatever reason, or they don't want to see you. That doesn't prevent love from being sent, as long as it's unconditional, not asking for anything in return.
Oh, you are taking me to another aspect of love between, like, a father and a child, be it a girl child or a boy child. I once was invited to a session to speak, and at the end of the session, something that I feel it's the divine spirit in me that compelled me to ask people to hug those who were close to them, to hug whoever was sitting next to you. And after that session, and jokingly, I would see those who were like just hands at a distance, just stretching hands, and said, "No, I mean hug, hug as in hug. Put that person close on your chest and hug them. Close them up with your hands." I tell you, at the end of a session, one old man who was even in ministry came to me and said he has never done this on earth, to hug someone and to feel that warmth, of another being, feeling the love closely and being embraced. What joy comes out of being embraced, if I may ask you that as well?
Yeah, no, that's one of the most powerful pieces of love and touch. Human beings need touch. and you can heal yourself so much through the power of touch. One of the modalities I use is called havening. It's a psychosensory touch modality, and what it is you can actually hug yourself. I mean, I used to say that
Mm-hmm.
I at one point I had a girlfriend when I was younger. I had a girlfriend that who is in college in California, and I'm here in New York, which is the other side of the United States. For people who don't know, it's about 3,000 miles. Not sure how many kilometers, but it's a great distance. And what we would say is put your arm on one hand, put your on, and then pull down. You can give yourself a hug. You can send hugs that way. I just got chills. But also through havening, you can use your body where if you rub your arms like this, giving yourself a hug, there's a lot of healing. There's a lot of reset. That's one of the magic things that we do where we can reset ourselves, even if we're not by ourselves, even if we are by ourselves. And when we're not by ourselves, there's lots of different ways where hug or that energy, because it's that love energy, it's that connection. That's what a hug is. It's connection that's so powerful. And I can't tell you how many times I've sent out love to others every night. That's part of my meditation in the morning. Many times that I just send out love to people. I don't know if they receive it. If I don't see them, if I don't, if I'm not with them, but I know that I sent out love. How they receive it, that's on them. How I send it out is on me to make sure that it's pure. It's not, oh, I love you because you're going to call me today. I love you because that's not the unconditional love that I'm talking about. I'm saying when you and I don't speak, if I put you in my prayers, I say I love you and I wish you health, happiness, and healing. And that doesn't mean that you need to then say, oh, thank you, David. No, it's just I put it out there. It's the higher energy. So whatever people's beliefs are, either through God, the universe, right? It's all universal. Love is a universal energy, and when we use that in the best way possible, the magic that happens, the chills that you receive down your back every now and then by doing it, it's so powerful. And that's one of the things that charge me up. That's one of the things that causes me great peace when I can share love with people, physically or not, but that I know it's coming pure from my heart. Because when we think about our heart, that's the powerful part. Our head, when you were talking about the ego, that's where we get into trouble.
Wow, that's where we get into trouble. Now let's get to this part of the piece. You've released this love, and now it is upon the next person that you've released the love to receive. But it leaves you with that comfort. What is it? The explanation of peace after you've done this. What comes out of your heart? How do you feel about that?
It feels great. Much like giving those flowers to strangers on the street. It's pure joy. It's giving a piece of your life, giving a 1 second thought of love to somebody. It's like that ripple when you throw a little pebble in the ocean or a lake. It ripples out if the person receives it or not. If there's a rock in the middle of the like a boulder in the middle of the pond, there's still ripples. It goes around it. The rock still receives it. It just causes it a little bit, receives it less because they put up their own ego, boundaries, and that's okay. You could put up boundaries. You could protect yourself. You could, and that's part of what the bat means is creating your boundaries. What you feel, it's your filters, how you receive it. So if I was sending you love, or when I send you love, you could choose to not receive it because you think I want a romantic, or you don't want my, because I'm from the United States, you might not want my love. Like we have all these barriers we put up, but in the grand
Mm,
things, the universe will still send you the love. You'll still receive it. You might not receive as much because, hey, you put up a boundary, and that's okay. But think about the flow. The energy still flows. You want to put up a boundary and let it flow less through you because it comes from me. That's okay. That's on you. That's not on me. My energy is being sent 100%. And if you want to resist, It's okay. Maybe there's lessons. We all need to learn lessons and figure out what resistance we put up towards love or what we put up towards anything else.
Now, on the issue of resistance, right there, are there things we need to resist if someone is giving you love? Let's bring in a scenario of a relationship, and
Yeah,
you
sure.
know them. They start good and break. Take us there.
Yeah, I mean, look, if somebody's not treating you properly, you need to communicate that. I've been guilty of not treating people properly. I don't want to make it sound that I've always been perfect. I've learned. We grow. Sometimes we do things that we aren't aware are uncomfortable for other people. And without communication, that could be a resistance. That could be a barrier. If you don't communicate it, how am I supposed to know? And then it's a choice. Because once we have knowledge that something has bothered us, then we have the ability to either change or you have the ability to say, I don't think anything was wrong with it and I'm not going to change. And on our end, if we don't want to receive it, we can choose that. Hey, you treated me bad. You called me a name. You did whatever you want, whatever you thought was right, and that's not something I want to entertain now or forever. What you want to do? You can change. That's great if you want to change, but it's not something that I'm willing to take those opportunities to look at. And that's a choice also, but that's a little bit more resistance. I always, people are always amazed. People who have offended me over the years, and then they come back and they go, well, we get past this. How did we get past this? Because we both had open minds. We both had the ability to say what who you were then might not be who you were now. Now, if you don't make those changes, then who you are then was who you are now. And then that would be hey, I'm not accepting that. I'm not receiving that type of treatment. But if you change your behaviors, hey, I think there's great opportunities in everything, and you never know where the energies come from and where love comes from because we all need people, and we just need the right people.
Yes, and you bring it very beautifully to this one topic that is always like there's so many books on communication
So,
and many books on the love signs and languages. There's that book about 5 languages of love. And are we really limited to 5 languages of love, or it's someone who just noted 5 according to his knowledge of putting it, penning it on the book, and we are boxing ourselves now, limiting it to 5 languages of love, and teach about this book? Can we stretch it and be open, and our eyes, like you say, we come sometimes grown as different people, understanding other languages of love?
yeah, I think there's more than 5 languages. I think there's the 5 senses. There's a lot of, and if you think about it, every sense that we have, there's a different way to approach love. So how I might love somebody might be different than how you love somebody. We're all individuals. We all know what we like to receive. So again, you might have different likes and dislikes, and some of the things that you might dislike, I might like. That doesn't mean that either one of us are wrong. It works for us. That's why it's a language of love, and it's more than just 5. It's how we communicate. It's how we have the ability to make that love be shared equally and knowledgeable. So like there's lots of things that I've done over the years that I thought was out of love wasn't received with love or even with the knowledge. There's things that we do that people don't realize. Like our parents growing up, we don't realize all the little things they might have done, making sure that we're fed. All these little things to make that when you become an adult, you're like, oh, I get it. They did all this out of love. They didn't do it because you needed to say thank you for everything. Though respect is always good. It's all about all the little things that you might not have realized that people were doing on your behalf that they might be like, "Oh, I love you. I wanted to make life easier for you."
Wow, that's beautiful. There's another aspect now on the receiving of unconditional love. If someone, within this communication, two-way traffic from one person to the other, then there's misunderstanding, there's hurting, there's breaking apart. Now coming together again and someone saying, forgive me, we need to talk about forgiveness, right? And then forgive me. Okay, you forgive, but you give a space, not fully trust that this person will not hurt you again. Do we bring a bet in that aspect so that we protect our boundaries? How do we bring a bet?
Well, you got to protect your boundaries, but I, I'm always willing to let down my guard. I'm willing to be hurt because of love. And love isn't always about hurt. It's about learning really what we do, how we do things. And again, sometimes it's miscommunication. How I do things might not have worked for you, but I wouldn't have known that if you didn't share that. There's a lot. I'm a protector, so I've been guilty of being overprotective of my children, of my family. That if you do something in my family, I might react poorly on the protection part, not necessarily about so many different things, but it's how you receive it, what you're feeling, and it's a fine piece of what we do. How do we get through it? You're asking. I don't know if you really didn't ask me, but it seemed like we were going down that road of trying to about forgiveness, and forgiveness is really powerful. So forgiveness for other people, but also forgiveness within ourselves. I once said that I would, carry certain things in my heart, the blackness in my heart, the hatred in my heart for till the day I died. And then I've learned to forgive everybody for everything. I've been willing to have conversations about the most difficult subjects in my life. And because I want to give forgiveness and I also want to not hold on to it. That's why today, like I said, is one of the things you'll hear if you have Jewish friends. A lot of people asking for forgiveness if I've done something wrong, if I've wronged somebody in this past year, and I will strive to do better. That's we should be doing that every day, not just at these days of awe. That's what it's called, the 10 days. But you really, should always, once you learn, Maya Angelou had said, once you learn better, you need to do better. And that's the real powerful part is how do you do that? Well, I always like to give people opportunities. And you might have trust issues at the beginning, but if you see real change, real ability to recognize the pain and the challenges that you might have caused purposely or in by accident, then you can that's called growth. And I do that often because I like to do the deep dives to see what I've done because I want to learn. I want to be the better person that I believe I am.
Wow. Dave, there's another aspect. I like bringing in those deep corners when two people believe, one believes that she has been hurt by the other. And the other one believes that I did not hurt you at all. And the other one fully believes you did hurt me. How do we bring in, the aspect of healing and forgiveness, most of all, of understanding where the other one is coming from and the other one is coming from?
Well, it really is. You have to be open to that. Some people are not open to that, and that's a choice. They would rather live in a world of boundaries, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to make it sound that you need to not have any boundaries. Trust is something that you can earn, and there's a lot of different ways to look at opportunities, and only if you give the opportunities, only if you're willing to have those opportunities. If you're not willing to have an opportunity, then it doesn't really matter. But I really enjoy having opportunities, because there's a lightening of your soul when you really have forgiveness, when you really have understanding. That's why when I've said to you, people have wronged me, and yeah, I'll give you an example. So there's about 3 years ago, I was going through a lot of different changes. I actually tried to commit suicide. I went through the process. Obviously, it didn't work. I'm glad it didn't. I've done great healing since then. I've found ways to love myself that I had never experienced before. But right after that point, a woman walked up to me and she told me, called me names, horrible names, and told me that I'm not worth it, and it was unfortunate I didn't, succeed, and blah blah blah. Well, it hurt at that point. I cried. I did what I wanted to do, and I have not spoken to that woman since. But I have offered her forgiveness for that, because I look at it is there must be such pain within her that needs healing, which has nothing to do with me, that
Yeah.
she needed to vent at me or do something to me. I wish everybody power of forgiveness to release what they're holding their anger back. Now they might not get the apology that they want from the person they want. I can't make that happen and they can't make that happen. You can't control another person. But I'm always willing to take responsibility for what I've done. I'm willing to ask for forgiveness. It doesn't have to be given. You can hold on to that. Again, it's that resistance we were talking about. You choose. I'm giving it to you freely, not because I am expecting to hear it back. That's why one of the tricks, again, when we talk about the word love, a lot of times people go, I love you, because they want to hear it back. I say I love you. I don't care if I hear it back. It would be nice, don't get me wrong. But if it's not, that's not why I'm telling you I love you. That's not why I'm sharing love. That's not why I'm sharing forgiveness. I'm not telling you to forgive me. That's up to you. It's your forgiveness. But I forgive you for the situation that we might have been in. Even if I did something wrong, is probably a different. I forgive you for not being able to, for us not being able to communicate, and all these ways to resist. There's lots of different ways. It's like affirmations. When we use affirmations, we build ourselves up. Forgiveness is letting go of the baggage that we might have on our journey.
Wonderful. I love this of affirmations, because as you are talking, I'm affirming myself that, I love you, but I love me. I love me. And I've made it a choice that I'm going to love myself first and love me to the highest level I can be. Because for me to love the next person, I must be able to love myself first and to have that, positive energy that I can share with someone. If I don't love myself, how can I love the next person? Even if to love my child, I need to be, bubbling with love, self, and then I can bubble and pour it out to somebody else. So thank you for that. The power of affirmations.
Well,
What great affirmations can you share with us?
yeah, well, that's really powerful. It comes from within. So one of an affirmation is, I am worthy. I am full of love. Uh, that was something I didn't understand. I always thought I can give it. I'm an unlimited, flower of love. I'm a beacon of light. But I didn't know that the light also has to shine at me at times. That love had to be received by me at times. I knew that I can love others, and I still love others, but I also love myself, and that's part of those boundaries, is knowing where that love starts, and you have to always bring it down. That's why we move out of our ego, out of our head, into our heart, becomes so much different, and that's the powerful piece by doing that and learning how we shift it by being that beacon of light, being that beacon of love. I am a beacon of light and love. Those are affirmations we always want to say. Those I statements. It's not always being selfish. Now, if you're saying I want, there could be some selfishness about it. But if you're just saying I am love and knowing that you're of love, then it's powerful. It's very powerful to say all the things that you are, not all the things you're not all the things that you could be, all the things that are just as simple. I am grateful for the life I have. I am grateful for the opportunities that I have had, the opportunities that are still before me. Those are affirmations that the world really feels when you start saying it.
Very, very powerful. Thanks, Dave. I love that. You know, one other thing, why we have the podcast on a Sunday, it is because we learned through statistics that a lot of people, for whatever reason, there are different reasons people commit suicide, want to commit suicide. And it happens mostly on Monday mornings. And there's a high rate on Monday mornings. So we speak on Sunday evening the positive word to go out there in the air, because I believe things start in the spirit and they come in the physical, start in thoughts and all those things. So we speak in the air, and these affirmations, I love them to bring in love to someone, so that even if somebody was thinking of ending his or her life, can have this and listen to this. Some won't even listen, but because we prayed here and because we affirmed everybody that there's life out there, as you said it, we speak it out to the universe, so that any negative energy that wanted to distract this positive energy that was speaking can be distracted and ended right there. And people can live and live in the fullness of joy and abundance of life. What does abundance mean to you in life?
Abundance means it's all out there. You just need to find the right way to get it. So, where you just starting off talking about with suicide, I tried to do that. I was down that path. I didn't see all the abundance that was before me. I didn't see all the resources that I had, and now I would never think about doing that again. It wouldn't be in my way of thinking, and I understand that way of thinking. I'm one of the few people who was comfortable with the decision that I was making at that time. It wasn't fully clear. I didn't understand all the resources that were really about, all the abundance of not people. I don't because I had people that I could talk to. I still have people who go, "Oh, you should have called me then." It was for me. It wasn't a situation of that you needed to talk it out. It was being so close-minded. So when we talk about abundance, it's really trying to be as open-minded. Again, using this unconditional love. Know that there's so many different resources that we might not be aware of. There might be so many different lives that you touched because of the ability to be open-minded and rather than closed-minded. It's the think about it. When we are closed-minded, we are putting up resistance. We are putting up those boundaries where you can't go through. And it takes a
Mm.
lot of energy to hold up those boundaries. That's what drains us. That's where we have those biggest challenges. But when you're giving, think about giving a present. How excited you are. You can't wait for somebody to see what it's all about. That's the abundance. That's why we give unconditional love. I am giving you unconditional love. How you receive it, that's up to you. I doesn't matter. I could have bought you the best present of all time, but you might not have liked it. But I still am giving it to you 100% and with an abundance, knowing that my love, I've given you the full glass of abundance of what I could provide. And that's what we have to learn is what we could provide. Not everybody could provide the same things, but we could provide differently. And it's that abundance that allows us to just give with all of what we have.
Wow. And thanks for that, Dave. Thanks again one more time for when we first met, you really did exactly that. That unconditional love. You didn't even think twice to invite me to your podcast and interview me. You were the second from our Easeway family to invite me. When you saw my profile on Isway Wall of Fame, you invited me to your podcast and to interview me. And we had a beautiful time. We had a wonderful time talking about, a lot of things, issues of life. And what I liked about your questionnaire was that if there's anything you don't want to talk about, show it as well. Giving that kind of respect to someone, that if you are comfortable to talk about anything, say it. If there's something you're not comfortable, say it, and then you respect. What is the essence of respect in friendships, relationships, this unconditional love?
Oh, it's that boundaries, right? It goes back to that boundaries. It's understanding, it's communication, it's trust. That all fills into that love and abundance that we have. If you start trusting me and believing me, our word is our word. That's the most. At the end of the day, that's all we have. No matter what millions you might have, it's your word, because you could have millions, and then if you lie to me, I'm still not going to believe you. And it's all about the talking the talk and walking the walk, and that's what respect is. What upsets me more is you saying I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and then not doing X, Y, and Z, but expecting me to accept what you did as, well, it doesn't really matter. It does matter. Your word is important. Your word is really, at the end of the day, the our calling card. So that's why when I try to talk, I make sure that what I do is, do what I say. I haven't always been this way. So if you know some friends of mine, they're like, "Oh yeah, he did this when he was 12, guilty as charged." But that's why we grow, we learn, respect.
Yeah.
All this that we're talking about, even love, unconditional love, it grows with you. It grows more sometimes as you get older, and sometimes it doesn't. You set up more boundaries, that's on you. You could set up less boundaries, but react differently. And I've learned how to react differently to so many different things. All the triggers that I was feeling, they're not as they're not powerful anymore. Respect is one of those things. I respect myself to know how I'm feeling and acknowledge how I'm feeling.
Wow, that's powerful. And there's something, before our time ends, I've got two other aspects that we need to speak about. And, when I went through your profile again, and now again over your website, because I know you have this on your website. Let's talk about this.
Yep.
They've helped hundreds of people globally transform their lives from within through the Phoenix paradigm shift. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, sure. I did a TEDx talk about there's a phoenix within each one of us, and
Mhm.
a lot of people believe the mythical figure phoenix dies and then comes back. It turns to ashes, so that's why we assume that. And we've all had ashes in our lives. You and I, well, again, when you were on my podcast, you shared some of the ashes of your life. The
Mm,
struggles that you might have gone through.
mm,
And how'd you rise? For you rose through the glory of God. Not everybody, wants to be religious. Not everybody, but we all rise. How do we rise? How do we become the phoenix within ourselves? How do we learn how to rise and soar? Because that's what the phoenix is. The phoenix is a bird. It's in all religions. It's in all cultures. So if you look in your culture, it might not be called a phoenix. There's different names in it. It's supposedly mentioned in the Bible as the bird that rises. In the story of Adam and Eve, the story in Noah and the ark. So there's so many pieces of where you, depending on what you want to believe or how you want to believe, there's a phoenix within each one of us. And how do you rise from the ashes? And how does it keep going? Our lives are full of opportunities for growth. What are you doing in a negative? Are you looking for positive things, even in the most negative situations? Or are you just dwelling in the negative? Are you living in your ashes? I tell you, and I've shown people how to overcome many things because I've overcome many things. You know, divorce, death of family members, been a caregiver. There's been so many different things in my life that I've overcome that when you start thinking about it, you're like, wow, how'd you do that? Sometimes I did it less successfully, and other times I did it exactly the way I was supposed to. I'll give you an example, because I know we're running out of time. 6 months ago, my best friend passed away unexpectedly, and I then took care of his mom who had Alzheimer's. And what do you do? 3 years ago, that would have broken me. All these things, all these extra pressures on top of the current pressures I was doing. For the past 6 months, I took care of his mother. I took care of his mother just like another mother of mine. And I'm not saying this because I'm a hero. I am not a hero. I'm just one of many people who do these type of things. But I did it. And I look back at how I managed and balanced. Again, when you're swinging a bat, you want to have the right balance to hit your sweet spot. When you have the right balance, that's what you do, is you can rise from the ashes. No matter what God throws at you, the universe throws at you, you will rise if you take care of yourself, if you do the processes and find what process works for you. I found out what works for me, and I knew that, and I could do that, and I've shown that to people. I've taught people how to do it, and I've changed lives on the smallest of scales, but also on some of the largest of scales.
Yeah, we go through it. I love it in the good book for those who love it and believe in it, that we go through the valley of the shadow of death. So sometimes we have to go through something to get to the other side. But what is important again for us is to continue to see positiveness in life and continue to see that life is good and there's greatness of life. Whatever we go through, the ashes of life, we will rise again. There's that scripture that will in Isaiah that will take you. You will change the situation from ashes to the beauty. You know, and we will rise. One thing that our mindset should always be focusing on is to rise, and that's the beauty of it. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. And now, Dave, there is something I like about you again. You learned, you changed, you received, you rose again, and you did not contain this within yourself. You are a global public speaker now, and you speak in events, you speak on big stages, you're a TEDx speaker. What is the message that you give out there to the people? That's a message that I would love for you to share with the viewers right now, to let me not even direct you in any path. You have your own message that you can share with us,
I
maybe
love
in
the
5
assistant path.
minutes.
Because my mentoring program is called On the Path, and what PATH stands for is Personal Attitudes Towards Happiness. And we each have a different path while we're walking along, but there's lots of obstacles. How do we overcome those obstacles? And that's what I help people do. I assist them to find the right path for themselves, because once you start walking on the right path, you're able to then figure out, even if it's in the ashes, how to get that speed, it's that strength, that ability to lift yourself up, to soar. It's your time to soar when you say it is. It's your time to feel the opportunity to fly. And what does that look like for you? That's where it really comes down to, is all the different paths we take. Sometimes we need a pathfinder. We need somebody to just help us out, not necessarily walk it for us, because nobody could do it for you. You have to do what you need to do to get ahead. But what do you do to get ahead, and how do you do it? Sometimes we get lost, right? You're in a woods. I don't know which way to go. You look for that one pathfinder. That's what happens. And that's what I've learned how to be. I've learned how to be my own pathfinder. So when things are getting too dark for me and I've lost my way, I take a breath. I do some of the use my resources, which is something I had not done always. And by using my resources, I'm able to reset myself much quicker, and I'm able to handle really almost everything that's being thrown at my way.
Wow, wow, wow. You know, this is something that life needs. Everyone needs this goodness of life. Let me come and join you here. And, you know, as we're rounding it up to close, we all need this. And we all need, you know, that peace that you spoke about. And that will take us to happiness. What is your definition of happiness? As we close, we want to leave people in the level of great happiness. What is it, again, that you get after public speaking? What joy do you get out of it?
You know, I with my TEDx, I had got contacted by 9 people who I never knew, who because during my TEDx I mentioned about suicide. So for me, it's somebody who might have heard the message. Any of your listeners who might have heard any of my messages, and they needed to hear this today. That's one of the pride pieces of pride that I hear about my podcast. I needed to hear that guest today. I needed to hear Ntsiki. I needed to hear so many of the other guests that we had. That's what brings me happiness is that it's not about me. Again, removing my ego. It's not about that Dave speaks on wherever he is. It's not important who the message comes from. I'm not a big, it has to be me. I'm part of the Easy Way Network. No, it's about the people in that network that's really important. It's really about knowing that you might have changed somebody's life because you showed up or you said something that they need to hear. That's what brings me happiness. My family always brings me happiness when they're with me or when they're not with me. Just sitting back in with memories or just the sharing of love to them, that brings me happiness. It brings me to a very centered place. I realize when I think of certain things, I always see family and I see the love that it makes me so happy. Like this morning, also, I realized is National Daughter Day or something, or International Daughter Day.
Wow.
So I'm blessed for having daughters, and I send them love. I just can look at a picture of my children, and my heart either hurts because I don't see them at that moment, or I don't share at that moment, or it makes me leap in the air because I just know how much love I have for my daughters.
Wow, thanks for that. You know, for some reason, we had so many events. Last night, we were celebrating our South African Heroes Awards. So I was still busy with that. And then I wake up, I'm speaking on a church in Pakistan online. And, you know, but in between, I never forget to connect with my daughter and with my nieces. I connect with my family. I make sure I need to give love at home first before I go out and shine out to the world. So
Definitely.
thank you for, you know, yes, yes, touch on that as well. What do you want to say
Yeah,
about
well,
that?
love, really just as we've said, love has to start with from ourselves, and then it can expand. You could be the change. Sometimes, if you're in a room that they all are hating on each other, but if you show them love, there's only so much that they could do. Love will overwin. I mean, Martin Luther King said, one candlelight will light up a dark room. And that's what it is. Darkness will always be there. Be the candlelight, be that beacon of light, be that person who is going to shine the light and make sure that everybody receives what they need to receive. Feel that love, be that love candlelight and let them people shine. You're going to shine no matter what. If people don't want to see it, that's their choice. Keep shining. Be that beacon of light. Be that believer. That's why, our mutual friend Eric always says, you like the Babe Ruth. I go, yeah, I'm the Babe Ruth of believing. Keep believing in yourself. Start saying, I believe. Use those affirmations. I love. Be that Babe Ruth. Hit that home run on love, and you're always going to win.
Wow, wow. You know, and you know what I like about this is that in every level of life, there's scope to learn, there is space to learn
Sure.
and to get to the next level, no matter how old we are, no matter how we have grown yesterday. My tomorrow and my today must be better than yesterday in anything in life. So that's where, as human beings, we should be focusing on, and focus on this pure, unconditional love, focus on this peace and love. Now, what is your closing note to the world? And it can be your closing manifestation, or also, a good word like a prayer, blessing. Bless us with a closing word.
Sure, I'll make it quick. I know
Yeah.
what I want to just the one thing I did you had mentioned. No matter how old we are, can we grow? I have a friend, Carol Knack, who's 84 and is still learning to learn. My one of my heroes, Lou Bonagura, is over 80, and he keeps pushing and rides his motorcycle. So the ideas of age has nothing to stop you back. You get to hold yourself back, and that's, I guess, is the message: is really keep growing until you can't grow anymore, because at that point, then it becomes a different transition. I wish my parents would have kept growing and learning and experiencing life as it should be lived. It should be lived every day of our life. And what I'll add is my mantra and the blessings for everybody is I wish you all to find peace and love in your life. And when you swing the bat, find your sweet spot. Hit that special spot that just feels good. It doesn't matter if it goes out of the park, but hit that sweet spot and know that special feeling within yourself. And it's always going to be great for you.
Wow. Yeah. Time is just something else. Can you believe we're just 2 minutes to close? And in this 2 minutes, I want to, thank our viewers out there, because you have already closed with a word of blessing us. That is covering a prayer. Thank you so much to our viewers out there. Please like, share, and subscribe, and follow us. We love following. We love following. Follow us, even follow us to the Easy Way family. Talk to me, DM me, and ask me and Dave about Easy Way family. We love life there. We do pitch parties, and enjoy the space, and learn from each other. So I love you unconditionally. I know for sure Dave loves you unconditionally. He shared that from the beginning of the show and showed us that it's possible to love without even giving it back. And thank you for that, Dave. That was so profound and powerful, because we always want to be loved back. No, he didn't love me. Oh, she didn't love me. He didn't love me. Love, irrespective, love, it's for you. Like forgiving, it's about you, not about the next person. Thank you so much, Dave. And from me, again, if you want to partner with us on Power to Lead Show, collaborate, sponsor a show or an episode, DM me. This is me, the gorgeous girl, Dr. Ntsiki Ncoco. DM me. Let's talk about it. And, I've moved. I used to be a 3G, God's gorgeous girl. When the waves, there's a 3G connection here of the internet. Now I'm 5G, Dave, 5.
At
I'm
least.
the, it's the glorious, global, gorgeous, God's gorgeous girl. So it's 5G. 5G moves faster now. I'm on the globe. So thank you to our sponsors, VUCA Africa Foundation in Johannesburg in South Africa. That is our anchor. And Amen, Amplified Moms Empowerment Network in the USA in California. Thank you so much. From me and Dave, we give you unconditional love. Say bye-bye to the viewers, Dave.
Thank you so much. God bless everybody, and just be your best.
Thank you so much. Love, love, love. When you shared this, I remember that song when we were growing up. Besides, singing a church song, I just, that song, Donna Summer, give me your unconditional love, the love kind of love I deserve, the one I want to receive. That's in my story, by the way, on my Facebook page. Give somebody that unconditional love. Have a lovely week from me and Dave. Bye bye, and we love you.